Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of 3 Points with Carroll College Basketball, and I'm joined by Coach Sayers. Coach, it's been a minute. How are you?
Doing well.
Doing well. That's right. That's right. You are doing well. 6 in a row for the Saints here, and as we get into our first point, as always, we look back at some games, but it's nice now to be in the front, too, that we can kind of combine some of them, because some of the teams that you played since the last time I talked to you, you're also going to play here next week. But starting off with Montana Western, we'll get into them a little bit in the second part, just because you're going to play them tomorrow. But you got to win over Montana Western, and then you got to win over Montana Tech, the coldest day of the year, I swear. But they came in. But so just starting with that Tech game, I guess. I know Jamie had a great game. She's on a crazy 5 games in a row of double-doubles, but you kind of came in here and y'all really had another great second half like we've seen during different points of the season and took over. So just how'd you feel like y'all performed in that game?
Well, I think defensively it really set the tone for us. We were able to really lock down Tech, make it hard for them, turn them over a few times, and you know it's tough when you're having a hard time scoring and then all of a sudden your defense isn't as sharp as it was. And so I think that was kind of what we were able to do with Tech. We were able to lock them down, and then pretty soon we were starting to get some easy ones, getting the ball in the paint, getting some rebounds. And so it really started with our defensive intensity and our ability to keep them out of the paint, to get them boxed out, turn them over a couple times, get some easy ones. Everybody had their head up, and all of a sudden shots start falling.
Definitely. And then after that, you went and played a tough game, as always, over at Rocky Mountain in Billings. The last time y'all lost a game in conference play was last season in Billings. And it is a Rocky team that's I've been really up and down this year. They've had good stretches, but I know recently they've been banged up and such. But y'all took care of business there on the road, always a hard trip. So just how'd you feel like your team executed over there?
Well, I think it's a tough place to play, and as we know, we're going to get everybody's best effort and best energy, and that's exactly what we got from Rocky. They battled like crazy, and I don't think that we were as sharp as we needed to be. I thought we made some big plays when we needed to, got some good stops when we needed to, but it's always kind of a grinded out deal over at Rocky, never real high scoring. They're a good defensive team, and we were able to kind of outlast that one.
For sure. And then finally, you came here this Saturday and took on an MSU Northern team, the final team you hadn't faced in conference yet, and you got to win there. Jamie played kind of out of her mind in that game at 20 points and I believe 18 rebounds, which is a career high. I think she also tied her career high in assists. And obviously, you took care of business and stayed undefeated in conference play. So how'd you feel like that one went?
Well, again, not a real sharp start. I think we were down 4 or 6 going into the fourth quarter, and we're able to really turn up the heat a little bit defensively. But again, I think this conference is tough, and there's no gimmies. Everybody's going to come in and play well, and it's tough to be on the road and then travel back and turn around and have to play a home game. And so I think we had a little bit of the effects of the 2 a.m. arrival from Rocky and get to class at 8 a.m. the next day, and then get ready to play a 2 o'clock game on Saturday. And so we were a little flat to start that game. I thought Northern came in and played really well, and thankfully in the fourth quarter we kind of got our mojo back and upped our defensive intensity again, able to turn them over a little bit, get some easy ones. I thought Erica Nissen came in and gave us a huge spark, and obviously Jamie had a great game with a double-double and 6 assists. So it was definitely a slow start, but obviously it's not how you start, it's how you finish.
Mm-hmm. Definitely true. And then Erica's someone, too, who we'll talk about that one in a second, but in the Western game really jumped out to me as a difference maker. She was just scoring in that game, but just kind of like 50-50 balls. She's definitely a glue player for y'all this year, and hopefully she'll come on the show in a couple of weeks here. But just to recap overall the last 4 games, undefeated in conference play, as I said, 5-0. 6-game win streak. Is kind of dominant so far in conference. What would you say some of the key factors? Obviously, we know you played a really hard non-conference schedule, and your defense has been top with NAIA this year. But I guess what are some of the key factors to you to this hot start in conference play?
Well, I think a lot is experience and maturity. These players have been here before. They understand when you get to conference, it's all different. Everything changes, and we don't really look at 6-0, undefeated in conference. We look at round 2, everybody 0-0, and we got to start this thing over again. We've got to be better than we were in round 1. And how do we get better each game in preparation for the next? And so that's kind of our mindset right now. We're not really, talking about records or worried about records. The only thing right now on our mind is Montana Western.
For sure, and you haven't won anything until the trophy's in your hand, really. You said moving on to point 2 there, you're going to take on Montana Western. You're going down to Dillon. So you did beat them. Obviously, they have some talented players. I got to talk to Maddie Garretts about their program and some of their players last week, and she told me about how she remembers scouting Brett Cooper when she first came into here at Carroll, and then now obviously Britt's the head coach there. She's in her first year. They got a talented squad. Last week, the only other player in the conference that really would have beat Jamie Pickens out for Conference Player of the Week, Jamie got it 2 weeks ago, was Jordan Sweeney. She's been leading the league in scoring. So just what can you do that you did in this game here against Montana Western down there to kind of repeat your success?
Well, I think we have to establish ourselves in the paint. Obviously, that's the strength of our team. It's also a weakness for Western. They don't have a lot of size, so to be able to establish ourselves in the paint is really important. We have to control their shooters. We can't give them knockdown threes. We have to be alert and aware. And then random cutters and rebounds, I mean, those are the things that they do really well. They get you, watching Sweeney and seeing how you can help on her, and then pretty soon somebody cuts and they're open and they get a layup. So making sure that we're not ball watching, that everybody's engaged. You got to stay engaged until that shot goes up, and then you got to be more engaged, get the box out. And so they put a lot of pressure on you defensively, and so we have to really stay engaged. We have to be, high alert, talking, moving around, and then we got to finish every play with the box out. And then offensively, we got to come down with a sense of purpose and what we're trying to do, where we're trying to get the ball, how we're going to get the ball there, and then really continue to execute through the entire game.
For sure. And then last time we talked to you, you're getting ready for that Providence game on the road, and they were a team that actually does have a lot of size, as you said, but you went up there and beat them. So now they're going to come down here this Saturday. So just same thing. I guess, what do you have to do? Obviously not looking too far ahead, but what do you got to do to replicate your success you had up in Great Falls here in Helena?
Well, unfortunately, there's not a ton of similarities in the two teams other than, both of them have great point guards. They both play a different style, completely different matchups with Providence than Montana Western. And so we're going to have to flip the switch quickly after Thursday and kind of refocus on different things that we want to do and how we want to execute and how we're going to guard. And so obviously, size-wise, they're probably the team that can match with us the best. And they have great guard play, they have a good bench, and so, Thursday night, Friday morning, we'll do our best to get that part figured out.
For sure. And then the third question here, this is a little off topic, but it's going to relate to our final question. Recently, your daughter, Taylor, plays down at Capitol High, and not only, she's had a really good year kind of coming into her senior year. They got a lot of seniors on that roster down there, but she's kind of had a breakout year, led the AA and scoring a couple points this season. But what's it just been like for you? I know you spend so much time in here and coaching and working on basketball, to be able to go watch your daughter play like that down the road here at a high level, and just what is that like for you?
Well, it's the best part of my day. We miss out on so much. They were at Big Sky last night, and we had late practice, so had to go home and watch it delayed after I already knew the outcome. And so when I do get the opportunities to be there and support her and watch her and just be a parent, it's the greatest joy, whether she has 20 points or 0 points, just to be able to see her do her thing and have her moment, and for me just to be there to support her and be able to, enjoy and her success has been really fun.
And then obviously her older sister too is on your JV team here, and she's always in the facility and hanging out with your players. And then of course at the games, your players go to a lot of them also when you can. So just how cool is that for you to see that your players kind of going, not only supporting her, but also just getting to watch the local prep basketball too? Well,
I think that's just what's really special about Carroll, the community involvement and the family feel. Our players have been around my kids the entire time that they've been here. Our players are at my house for dinners. My kids are here in the gym all the time, and so they develop great relationships. And so to have our players so supportive of my family means a lot, and it means a lot to them to, it's a lot of pressure. You're out there playing, and 5 or 6 Carroll College players are sitting in the stands watching your game, so it is a little bit added pressure. But I think for that Capital team to know that they've got a little fan club. Some of the players on there also have our host families, and so there's a few players on the Capital team that are host families of our players, and so that brings a lot of our players to the games as well. So I think just that community connection through the host family program, through our camps, it just builds a great connection with the high school players as well as with our players.
Definitely, and talking with Coach Garson Forb over there last week, sounds like it's a mutual feeling. But moving into the third point, let's say you're going to go on a big vacation and maybe Home Alone style, you accidentally forget your kids, accidentally. Who are some you got to call some players on your team and be like, hey, can you maybe babysit my children for a while? Maybe watch over them. I'm a little older for babysitting now, but I guess who on the team would you want to babysit your kids?
Well, I would probably call on our younger players, our freshmen for sure, probably Alex and Ellie. They might still be a little scared of me, so I think that they would make sure they really watched over them, didn't let them get away with too much. I think our older players, I think Maddie would probably be up playing Fortnite with them all night, and I think Jamie and Kendall, they'd probably let them do whatever they wanted. Addie and Izzy, they might put the hammer down, but I think Taylor could talk them into anything. So I think I'd go with our freshmen on this one. I think maybe the fear that if something happens, if the kids get out of hand, that they'd have to suffer the consequences. I think I would go with Alex and Ellie on this one.
Sounds good. I like that. A great answer. And that's all I have for today. Good luck down in Dillon and then this weekend also against Providence, Coach. And thanks for coming on the show.
All right. Thank you.